Welcome, everyone. We have a couple of things coming up for you on the broadcast right now. Welcome to the live stream. I am your Kevinly father, Kevin Williams, and as soon as I see people come into the chat room, we'll get going here. We have the president doing a roundtable, which is going to be another Dear Leader session. And then right after that, we're going to see if we can find him talking at the border wall with Mexico. And I have footage of the last time he was at the border wall and gave away secrets about the border wall. Sir, perhaps there's some merit in not discussing that, said the border agent. I have that footage and we'll watch that later. Hey, CD, good to see you. Kim, Dr. Lisa, good to see you. Let's get going here. Here is the president in Arizona, somewhere near a border wall, Yuma County. And we'll be jumping around in this.
Thank you very much, everybody. Great to be here. Beautiful runway, a little warmer than I'm used to, but that's okay, Doug, right? I was just given a beautiful picture of the wall. That's before and after, and it's quite a difference. One area you walk over, you drive over, you do whatever you want, and the other one you say, well, I guess we don't get in. Here's another one just given. That's great, that's a different section. Pretty amazing. They've done a great job. We're up to 212, more than that now, about 220, but over 212 miles, and we'll be very close to 500 miles by the end of the year. And that's the area that we want.
David, the wall is measured in a pascal, and a pascal is a unit of measurement of volume of any container that's 2/3 empty.
So it's great, and thank you all for being here.
Hey, Andy. Hey, Human.
Thank you very
Hey,
much.
JC.
And I'm thrilled to
Ryan.
be in Yuma, Arizona.
back.
They've treated me very nicely in Arizona, so we're very happy about that, Mr. Governor, right? To commemorate the completion of more than 200 miles of powerful border wall. We're on pace to complete 450 miles by the end of the year and 500 miles almost immediately thereafter. We may even have the 500 miles by the end of the year. We're doing
That's per
a real
metric
job.
capita,
The Army Corps
David.
of Engineers, I want to thank them. They've been incredible. This is the most powerful and comprehensive border wall structure anywhere in the world. It's got
it's powerful.
technology that nobody would even believe, between sensors and cameras and everything else.
That he isn't
With
supposed
us
to talk
today, our
about.
Acting Secretary of Homeland Security,
Okay, enough
Chad
people are in
Wolf,
here that I'm going to play it.
who has done a fantastic job. Thank you, Chad. Commissioner.
This is the president talking about the technology in the wall, which no one knew about before this, and being castigated mildly by a border agent.
Maximum that you could do, and one thing we haven't mentioned is technology. They're wired so that we will know if somebody's trying to break through, and you may want to discuss that a little bit, General.
Sir, there could be some merit in not discussing that.
Okay? I like that.
Yeah. Sir, there could be some merit in not discussing that. Letting everyone know that there's sensors in the bars so that when you cut them, a sensor is triggered and the border guards know that you are cutting through the wall. And what does Trump do?
That was a great answer. I'll just tell you they're wired, okay?
Yeah, that's what he just suggested that you not discuss. At least it's not the Russians. Hey, producer Joanna. Hi, Chris Wilson. Good to see you.
And Mark Morgan. Mark, thank you very much. Lieutenant,
So these are just some
really great
intros.
stuff. President of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd.
We're going to be
Brandon,
skipping
what are
through
you
a lot
doing
of this,
sitting
guys.
back there? I've never seen that before.
Hey, Kathleen.
You're always up here with me. You're getting low-key lately, huh? That's confidence. That means he's got a lot of confidence. That's great. And thank you for everything, Brandon. Say hello to everybody. Great job.
So if you sit away from the center off camera, you have a lot of confidence. That's what that shows, says the guy right in the middle.
Job you do. Appreciate it.
Hey, Danielle.
He was a supporter of mine before I ran. He said, I hope that guy runs, right? So I appreciate it very much. We won't forget it either. And several other very dedicated and heroic members of law enforcement. I met just a few of them back there, and they gave me a beautiful replica of the wall. A little shorter version, but that's okay. And we want to thank everybody. We're also joined by some of my very good friends and people I have great respect for. You have a great governor in this state and he's been a great friend for the state, but he's been a great friend to
It's
our
an
nation.
upside-down
and
U,
does
Dr. Lisa.
Just a great job. Doug Ducey, thank you
Yeah, I
very
noticed
much,
that too,
Doug.
David.
Appreciate it. Talk to you in a little while.
Before
Appreciate
Iran,
it.
after Iraq, but of
Senator
course he meant
Martha
Syria.
McSally, who I hear is doing
Hi,
very
Marcy.
well. We need you in Washington. Will you please win? Because we need you. The alternative that's running against you is not the person that we want. He's got things that we don't want. So we want you to win this race. It's very important, and we appreciate all the help that you've given us, especially on the border wall. We appreciate it, Martha. Thank you very much.
That's Martha McSally, who lost her race for the Senate after being appointed as a senator to replace John McCain, I think. And then she lost to who? Sinema? COVID. And now she's running again against an astronaut. So good luck.
Representative Debbie Lesko has become a tremendous friend of mine and supporter. And with the
Wait, no, Chris, I didn't see Pence going up the stairs today. Did he trip?
impeachment hoax, she was right up front. And it was good for you. You became very famous. I became more famous, and you became very, very famous, right? Well, it certainly didn't hurt. She was one of the really great advocates. She was terrific. We appreciate it, Debbie. Thank you. Yuma Mayor Douglas Nichols, and thank you, Douglas, very much for being here.
Welcome back to Yuma.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor. And Yuma Police Chief Susan Smith. Thank you, Susan, very much for being here. So my administration has done more than any administration in history to secure our southern border. Our border has never been more secure. I think Doug can tell you that. Anybody at this table can tell you that. It's never even been close. The numbers now, including not only the wall has helped a lot. Where we have that 200 miles, 212 and now 220, it's really essentially almost, I guess, 99.6 or something like that. Maybe somebody can get an extraordinarily long ladder, but once you get up there, it gets very high. And it's just about unclimbable. So it's really great. That's made a big difference. But we have other things that we've done. During the past 2 months, we've seen the lowest
Just about unclimbable, which is climbable.
number of illegal border crossings in many years. Illegal immigration is down 84% from this time last year. Illegal crossings from Central America are down 97%. Now, the news, I won't say fake news, I want to be nice today. So the news will say 97%, Doug, that's not very good. But 97%, I would say sounds pretty good. You sure it's 97, right?
Yes, sir.
90, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good number you're doing. 97% down. Nearly 450,000 pounds of drugs have been seized this year, and 2,337 criminal aliens have been apprehended. We've stopped asylum fraud, ended catch and release. If you look at so many of the different crimes that come through the border, they're stopped. We've implemented groundbreaking agreements with Mexico. I want to thank the president of Mexico. He's really a great guy. I think he'll be coming into Washington pretty soon, to the White House. But they have a total of, what's the number today, would you say? Soldiers? What would you say?
Over 20,000, sir.
Yeah, over 20.
Trump keeps saying that there's 27,000 guards on the northern border of Mexico. But that would be keeping people coming into Mexico. No, they're at the southern border, but he gets that wrong every time. It's not 27,000. He just asked how many it is. It's more than 20, but he always gets that mixed up.
So we've had 27,000, 28,000, 25,000 Mexican soldiers are on our border, making
Not
sure
our
people
border.
aren't coming across. So I want to
Southern border
also
to keep Guatemala,
say that
Honduras.
we've made a lot of progress with Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras.
Southern border.
And now when somebody comes over, whether it's MS-13 or anybody else, we bring them back and they take them gladly. In the previous administration, they didn't take them at all. They wouldn't take them. They said, you keep them. Using our emergency public health authorities, we prevented a coronavirus catastrophe on the southern border, shutting down human smuggling and swiftly returning the crossers. We call them crossers. They cross now, we bring them right back. In the old days, it would take years to get them back. You wouldn't get them back. Other administrations, like the previous administration, essentially didn't bring them back. Without these public health measures, the southern border would be a global epicenter of the viral transmission. And if you look at some of the towns on the other side of the wall, as an example, in California, we have a certain area that is heavily infected on the Mexico side. And if we didn't have a border wall there, it would be really a catastrophic situation. So I just want to thank everyone, the Biden people, and he's controlled totally by the radical left, as you understand. He's not controlling it, they're controlling him. They want open borders, they want criminal sanctuaries, they want everything that doesn't work. I don't even think it works politically, frankly, at this point. People see what happened. You'll take a look at what's happening in Seattle, or take a look, Minnesota, such a great state, but you look at Minneapolis and you see what happened there until we sent in the National Guard. We said, you got to do it. As soon as they were there, boom, shut down. All the problems they had shut down. You didn't hear about them.
He didn't send in the National Guard, the governor
and many
did.
other places. Last night in Washington, we heard they were going to take down the statue, Washington, D.C., the statue of Andrew Jackson, a beautiful statue in Lafayette Park. And Mark Meadows is here. He heard about it. I heard about it. We sent people there, and law enforcement did an incredible job. They ran into that place, and we...
Does anybody know where... I'm trying to find Pence tripping here, and I don't see that. Does anybody have a link?
Were
or where it happened so I can look it up?
Minutes away. It was a sneak attack. And now we've enacted an act, a very specific statue and monument act, that puts people in jail for 10 years if they do anything to even try to...
That act is from 2014 and 2003, and way back at the beginning of the country. No, he didn't just enact an act. He wrote up an executive order that did not enact an act. The act is acting at all times, like most of his cabinet.
Face one of our monuments or statues. So we have numerous people in prison right now. Others are going there. And we're going to
look
at that from a standpoint of retroactivity.
Probably out on bail already.
We can go back and look at some of the damage they've done. But largely it's state damage, because the states have been very weak, extremely weak in protecting their heritage and protecting their culture. So the states are going to have to take care of themselves. But
you know, the heritage of Confederacy in Minnesota and Seattle.
We're there to help. If they want, we'll gladly help. But the federal statues, monuments, buildings, various things that we have.
Thank you, Elliot.
Including, if you look at the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial. They want to take down George Washington. How about that one? That's a new one. We heard that the other day. George Washington.
It's not new.
I don't think we'll let that happen, Doug, right? I don't think we're going to let that happen. But
hey,
George
Producer
Washington
Debbie.
And so many others. I really don't even think, frankly, they know who they're taking down. I think they just want to do things for bad purposes. So, and these aren't protesters; these are agitators and others. So we've taken a very strong stance, and it won't be happening federally. If it does, they're going to pay a very big price, and they know that. It won't be happening with the federal statues and monuments. So with that, I'd like to just introduce Chad Wolf to say a few words about the border, the job we've done on general security. Not just the southern border. The southern border has been a primary focus, as everyone knows, because tremendous amounts of drugs and other things come down. Human trafficking, we have that down to the lowest number we've had in many years. And again, being helped a lot by the length of our wall, which is going to be complete very soon. So,
and having 26% of the coronavirus deaths and 25% of the cases, that's also sort of a deterrent.
Chad, say a few words, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And we're here today as a testament to your leadership and determination to secure our nation's borders. In recent weeks, as you mentioned, our country has witnessed an all-out attack against our law enforcement. Thankfully, you have not stood idly by. Instead, you're supporting the brave law enforcement officers who sacrifice so much for all of us every day. And nowhere is that support as important as it is here at the southwest border. Border security is homeland security. And the first priority of any nation is to ensure the sovereignty by protecting the integrity of its borders. Mr. President, you have disregarded the ineffective conventional wisdom put forth by folks in D.C. and have instead listened to your operators. and they have been very clear. They want an effective and lasting border wall system. And you've responded by making available over $15 billion to fund this critical capability. And so your support of the men and women of DHS and CBP is beyond comparison. Others, such as General Simonite and Commissioner Morgan, will talk to you about the attributes of the wall. But let me just focus on a few key issues that you also brought up that goes into securing our borders. Not only the border wall system, but we are also closing loopholes that have served as magnets over the last 3 years.
It happens to everybody.
Enticing migrants to take
boy,
a
here
very
we go.
dangerous journey north to the U.S. And enter our country illegally. We have entered into a number of game-changing agreements with our Northern
It's a good
Triangle
recovery.
partners to stem
He
the
didn't
flow
smack.
of the illegal migrants as well.
So that's nice.
We've demanded.
All right, Chad Wolf.
Thousands
Moving on.
Mr. President, I want to thank you once again for your support of the men and women of DHS.
Thank you, dear leader.
Also for your support of
Thank you,
law
Marcy.
enforcement
I got
across
it.
the
Thank you.
country, but particularly here along the southwest border. We look forward to continuing our work on the border wall system and making the border even more secure.
Thank you very much. You know, when we first came, there was a thing called a caravan. And you'd have caravans, you'd have these massive amounts of people coming up, and they'd become.
Yeah, I remember, because if the Democrats won the midterms, then the caravans were going to come in and we were all going to die. So, good to see so many people in here. We had like, 135 people watching just on Twitter for the first stream today. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. For those of you watching at home that aren't part of the chat rooms on any of the platforms, great. That's great. Enjoy the chats that you can see here. And if you'd like to join the chat, the best place to chat is on YouTube. So go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. There's the fastest chat there in terms of delay with the broadcast. But wherever you're chatting, if you're already chatting, great. And if you don't want to chat, that's fine too. And if you want to support us, KevinLeeFather.com. Moving on.
From sometimes Honduras or Guatemala, El Salvador, other countries. They come through those countries sometimes, but thousands and thousands of
You can't move to Canada right now, Dr. Lisa.
people. I guess the largest one we saw was maybe 15,000. That's a lot of people. Yeah, very dangerous for those people, too. Things that happened on that journey up were brutal. And it was a long journey. But we don't have that anymore because they know they can't get through. And when they know they can't get through, they don't want to go through that. So
And the coronavirus.
we've told other countries you can't do that. You can't have caravans, and they listen to us. So it was it's a big difference right now, tremendous difference. Mark, please.
Yes, sir. So a couple things. First,
Mark
I want to
Esper?
echo what the Secretary said, sir. I want to say, as Commissioner of CBP, thank
No.
you. Thank you from early on. You listened, where others before you had not. I think Brandon Judd could testify to that early.
Okay.
We're
not gonna listen.
Access. I state them. The American citizens have died every year at the hands of the cartels smuggling drugs across this border. The border is a border.
The moon is
town.
part of Mars.
Borders map is wall team reach.
Honored to work. Just a very noble. So
Okay.
in this before they did
Tell-
that has actually.
Hold on, he says
be
something
here,
stupid
and,
here.
We got a lot of great things. going on.
Probably. I'm guessing.
Thank you very much, Brandon, could I ask you to say a few words? Because
No.
you were the ones that said, you told me we need a wall. You got to get the wall.
Well, first, President, actions.
Trump has been saying he needs a wall, that we need a wall since 2012, long before he met Brandon. But okay, we're going to give Brandon credit for it, which tells us that the wall is going to be a failure because Trump's trying to get away from the responsibility. That Brandon guy, I was like, maybe we need a more. I was back and forth. You could say I was sitting on the fence, and it was so hard to sit on. It was impossible. It was virtually. It was unsittable.
Actually needs to be done. Your agents, I normally call them my agents, but they are your agents. Your agents appreciate the fact that you've gone above and beyond, more than any other president in the history of my career. Your agents want two things. They want border security, which is security for the entire
What?
United
Can you
States.
guys see how pink he is right now? The eye sockets. I think guys probably saw the images. David, you sent it to me earlier. I can dig it up here. So the images of the makeup on Trump's collar. Here we go. I'll pull it up for you guys. You can see. Let's go to the left screen. There we go. Right here, you can see the makeup. His makeup rubbing off on the collar. This is after he walks off the helicopter, the Marine One, on his way back from the Corona Bowl in Tulsa. So he's fading, and then look at him today. Let me come back. There we go. There's him today. Let's get close up on him here. Here we go. Hold on, I'm going to fix this. But just see that? Look at just how pink this is. And pink in this area is. I think he does his own makeup and just does not look in the mirror to the side when he's doing it. And I'm demonstrating how to do it while I'm not on camera for you guys. So just imagine that I was doing that while displaying Trump. But God, that's just... It could be the lighting in there. Who knows? There's a bunch of different things that lights can do. But he does not look well. Okay. You know, I hate to attack the president on his looks.
And they want economic security for their family,
he's a saint.
for their friends, and for their loved ones. You built the strongest economy in my lifetime. We trust that you're going to continue to build that economy. Pandemic hit. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody could have predicted it. You will build that economy, and we trust
Many people saw it coming. Many people predicted it. We practiced it and then threw out the playbook.
And you've done it twice, not just once. None of your predecessors were able to do that.
Who? Brandon is...
You've talked with the men and
Brandon's face right now is skin color and then orange.
On multiple occasions to consult with what the boots on the ground want. They have consistently told you walls in strategic locations work. It allows us to dictate where traffic goes. It allows us to be a lot more effective. You, not your predecessors, have done that. You built the economy. You have provided border security, and you continue to do it, and we continue to look forward to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon, very much. It was very interesting because Brandon was telling me right at the beginning we needed the wall and what kind of wall we need, and you have to have a vision through the wall. If you don't have the vision...
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the next Secretary of State of the United States, Brandon.
Through, and then we met and you all agreed, but we met with your people. We had various design competitions for... I said, if we're going to build it, let's build it right. And we had design competitions, the wall that was hardest to get over, the wall that was impossible to climb, or certainly very, very hard, and this was the hardest. And
so not impossible to climb.
We built the top of the line, but you were really great help. Thank you, Brandon, very much.
Secretary
of
Bootlicking,
that's been so
Brandon.
much, has just done a great job for the area, and is so into security of this state, of this great state of Arizona.
I bet he can.
And I just think he's really a fantastic guy, the governor. Could you say a few words, please, Doug?
Sure, please. Welcome back to Arizona, Mr. President. It's good to have you here, and I want to say to be down on the border.
This is so North Korea.
Arizonans have heard empty talk about the border, and this is the first administration that has taken action. So I want to say how grateful I am for the partnership with Homeland Security, how your border patrol, your customs and border protection, and ICE have all been helpful.
I can't take it anymore.
And as a result, we've kept dangerous drugs and this poison out of our schools and neighborhoods, as well as protecting people who are not being trafficked over the
there, and you've been such a help.
With you in the coming years to complete the job.
We'll have it mostly complete by the end of the year, and there may be a little, we may add a little, and then we may find spots where we want to add, but we'll have everything we wanted pretty much by the end of the year. It's great, Doug. Thank you. Great job you're doing.
Thank you.
And Martha, you're there, and you've been such a help, and I appreciate it. And I know how you feel about border security, maybe better than anybody.
Yes,
but I just want to thank you for your help. Please say a few words.
Absolutely, Mr. President. Welcome back to Arizona. It was an honor to fly with you on Air Force One and bring you back for this commemoration. I feel like we were just here recently for the 100th mile, and so it just shows with the partnership that's been talked about here, how quickly you've been able to enact this border wall system to give the agents everything that they need in order to secure our border. And I know our mayor knows the impact of that on this community and the sector chief here. Border security is national security. It's also health security. I think people have realized now in this pandemic that
There's a story about Martha McSally, but it's not interesting.
Borders matter, and they matter for the safety and security of this state and the whole nation. And the drugs that have been flowing through easily, that are impacting and killing loved ones around America, it has to stop. And this border wall system is a huge part of stopping the cartel activity, stopping that poison from coming across, and giving these agents everything they need as we support.
So when they got El Chapo, I was going to say El Guapo, because I have, now I can't remember the name of the movie. So like the wind, old woman. I can remember the lines. Martin Short, Steve Martin, three amigos. Got El Chapo, and if you look through the court deposition of El Chapo, they never talk about going through anywhere where there was no wall, because it's just tough to get to. It's so easy just to bring it in through the regular border crossings and to build tunnels. We just found another tunnel. The wall doesn't stop that at all. So the drugs are coming in.
Law enforcement.
The reason we haven't had so many school overdoses with the drugs is because the schools are closed.
For everything they do in order to keep us safe at the federal and at the local level. So thanks for your leadership and your partnership on this. Welcome back to Arizona.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Martha. Great job. Appreciate it. Debbie, go ahead. Come on. Let's see if you can do it again.
You know, I'm on the ground. I'm on Judiciary Committee and Homeland Security Committee, so I see firsthand how many of my Democratic colleagues really want to prioritize illegal immigrants over U.S. citizens. And they really do want open borders. I mean, I don't understand it, but they do. And so there's such a clear difference between you and your future opponent in this issue and Democrats as whole. I mean, I sat in Judiciary Committee when Chairman Jerry Nadler said that the Border Patrol officers were guilty of child abuse. And I think they said to Mr.
Some
Morgan
of them are.
that
Sure.
he was guilty of negligent homicide. I mean, the insanity of what they're saying, and the difference is so clear between what the Democrats want for the future of our nation
Justice.
and what you are doing to make us safe and make our country safe. And I want to thank you for
Building random walls.
Well, I think one of the all-time classics, and I'm sure you all remember it well, was they had a picture of a cage in the New York Times and other places, and it was a cage for children, and they said President
It wasn't in the New York Times. It was on Twitter. David, you can verify that.
Trump built it, and
fact, I'll pull
how
up Snopes
horrible
right now.
it was, and they still talk about it even though they know it's not true. And somebody wrote in, no, that cage was built in 2014 by President Obama. I guess you could say Biden, but I don't think Biden knew too much about it, frankly. Still doesn't. But it was built by President Obama. And Mark called, who was around this business for a long time. He said, that wasn't built by President Trump. That was built by President Obama in 2014. They gave me an exact date. Actually, they gave me the date it was constructed, meaning a series of cages. And I've sort of never forgotten it. And they still say that. You know, they still take that same picture.
January 20th,
That's where
2017.
they get called the fake news, and it's too bad because they ought to straighten it out. It would be so good for our country. But, you know, that was built in 2014. I never forgot it.
Right, and because we were having a surge of unaccompanied children. Parents were literally sending their kids, or kids without parents that had been orphaned because of all the violence south of the border, were coming into the States in droves, and we had nowhere to put them. So they were housed in cages, separated from each other, etc., or 2 or 3 per cage. But yeah, it was fencing inside warehouses because we had nowhere to put them until we could get them into the social services system. But yeah, those cages, some of those cages were built by Obama. But the difference is that Trump started taking families that already had the mom and the dad, or just the mom or just the dad, and kids that were together, and separating them forcefully so that they could keep the dad and the mom in prison and release the kids into the either relatives or the. But basically, is it better to keep the kids together with the parents or separate them and put them into cages? That's the difference between what Obama was doing, which was by necessity, and Trump, which was a problem he was creating all on his own. But I don't have any evidence of that being in the Times. Maybe it was, only as a fact check.
Somehow I never forgot it. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thanks again for coming back to Yuma. But
I only
thank
use
you,
Snoops.com.
more importantly, for last year when you helped us through a big surge of the Central American families. With the folks with DHS really stepped up and addressed the very specific concern we had. Now, if you fast forwarded that situation to today, and those families were coming through with COVID, that would be 5,200 people coming through my community potentially with COVID. So the wall, it's simple math. The wall, and those families were families, with the folks with DHS really stepped up and addressed the very specific concern we had. Now,
this guy's worried about people with COVID coming into his community.
if you fast forwarded that situation to today, and those families were coming through with COVID, that would be 5,200 people coming through my community potentially with COVID. So the wall, it's simple math. The wall prevents people from coming. That prevents the number of exposures we can have to COVID.
So I'll see you at the rally tonight, sir.
From local perspective, that helps our community. But the men and women of DHS that live here, they're our residents, they're our friends, they're our family members, and it's very personal and very poignant fact for us to
exactly
have those
right,
kind of
Matt Random.
protections in place. So thank you very much.
Well, you have to see San Diego. So on the other side of San Diego is a tremendously big problem
Tijuana.
with COVID and other things.
San Diego
They
also
wanted that
has a
wall
tremendously
so
big
badly.
problem.
You don't hear this about California. They wanted that wall. They were calling. Everybody was calling. I wouldn't embarrass them by saying who called.
Yeah, because just like the Cub Scouts called you and just like the NFL sent you a letter, it probably never happened. The mayor of San Diego and the they call themselves something different. The city council in San Diego, there's a different name for them. But anyway, they've all come out with a statement saying, yeah, no, we've never asked Trump to build. They already had a wall in San Diego.
But people that didn't want the wall outside wanted the wall. And I built the wall, and it worked 100%.
We were thinking about an indoor wall?
You know what I'm talking about. And then I see one of the politicians 2 weeks later, they should take down the wall.
Every time he says to somebody, you know what I'm talking about, I picture Sarah Cooper just going.
By the way, it worked so well. But he was saying they should have taken down the wall. But now they don't even say that because now it stopped COVID. It stopped everything. It stopped the whole deal. And you've had it and you see the experience. And we're going to take a good look at a big chunk that we have right in your backyard, right here. And I know it's made a big difference for you, man. That's great. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Chief, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. Welcome, Mr. President, to Yuma. And I really first want to thank you very much for your support of law enforcement, local and federal. It's much needed right now, and it's appreciated. I can tell you I worked on the road back in the early 2000s, and I understand firsthand the calls for service related to undocumented immigrants and how high those calls for service were. And then after the border enhancement security measures were put into place, I can tell you that we saw a marked decline in many of those calls, those crimes associated with undocumented immigrants, such as load vehicles coming across with drugs and humans, human trafficking, is stolen vehicles, and other crimes related. So it's very much appreciated, and it has helped with the security in Yuma County. One thing I want you to take away is that Yuma County is a very unique community in that all of the law enforcement work very collaboratively together from our federal, state, and local partners. So I hope you get that takeaway when you leave here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I look forward to seeing it. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As your principal drug advisor, we first told you about China and fentanyl coming in from over there. You took decisive action and you held China accountable. We explained about South America and drugs coming up through the Caribbean, and you had Secretary Esper do a surge out at sea to prevent the boats from bringing.
Okay, I have some stats for you. So in Baja California, where Tijuana is, Baja is the entire province, basically their version of a state. In Baja California, there are a total of 7,200 confirmed cases. In San Diego County, not all of California, just San Diego County, there are 10,350 confirmed cases. So, I mean, really, the wall is doing Mexico a favor. They should pay for it. Okay, click the button, click the thing. Click this. I'm the only one here. Timing.
The drugs into our country. And as we're talking about today, when we talked about the southwest border, you already knew it, but you knew to take action, and you did it. and you are now taking tough stance here at the southwest border. We talked about treatment, and we talked about the need to make sure that people get help. You committed more funds than any other president in history.
Dear leader.
You also
Dear leader.
talked about the importance of preventing kids from going down this path on prevention. You committed more funds than any other president in history.
And Obama committed more funds than any president in history. And Bush committed more funds than, and Clinton committed more. See a pattern here?
You did everything with one purpose in mind, and that is to save more American lives. And you have done it. For
except the testing.
30 years, drug deaths were going up. Last year, prior to COVID, first time in 3 decades, the number of Americans dying from a drug overdose went down. And that's because of all the action you have taken on treatment, prevention, and stopping drugs from coming into our country and killing our children. It's been a great honor to be able to work for you in this capacity.
And that is a good
your
thing.
passion for saving American lives.
That was really nice. I appreciate that very much. We are working very hard on it, so
I know Samantha.
Doing a great job.
Stephanie,
Thank
Samantha.
You.
Samantha? I don't know what
President,
Samantha.
Thank you for visiting Yuma Sector Border Patrol. The agents here, the men and women of this sector, have put in tireless days the past several years in the recent surge across the southwest border. Here in this sector, even though Yuma is a small...
All right, speaking of tireless, yesterday when I was showing you guys the videos of Trump getting off the helicopter, I got dinged by YouTube for the Charlie Brown song and also showing you the Lincoln Project with the Jurassic Park song. So I've got 2 copyright violations on YouTube right now. So I can't make YouTube money right now, which is why it's so important for you to go to kevinleefather.com and become a patron.
We had 26,000.
I'll clear them up. I'm taking them out. Anyway, moving on.
One year after that, last year, 2019, over 68,000 apprehensions here. And it takes a while for the government, for leadership represented here today, for the members, the elected officials here today, it takes a while for those resources to flow in. And the agents we are in that
in the interest of fairness,
takes a huge.
We don't know how many cases are in Mexico, in Baja California, because they haven't been testing as much as they should be. And in the interest of fairness, we're much worse.
Difference. Every single mile of new wall system that is put in, and every single mile, both illegal entries in that particular area, drug smuggling in that particular area, border crime in that particular area has decreased.
Yeah.
In every single mile that new wall system gets put in.
Because they
I thank you for the leadership. I thank everybody at the table today for leadership around the room in order to take on this particular.
I just want to say this was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, because we had to raise, large amounts of money. As you were saying, this was one of the biggest projects you've ever worked on. It's a tremendous, you hear it's a wall, but it's a wall that's very big and very long and very powerful. And the Democrats didn't want to do it. They just didn't want to do it, Doug, no matter what. It didn't matter. These are people that voted in favor of it 10 years ago, but they never got it built because they didn't know how to build it.
By the way, they offered him $20 billion for the wall back when Dick Durbin and the Durbin and the Republican senators put together a package for DACA, which the president said, you guys put this together and I will sign it. Well, they put it together, but in the meantime, Laura Ingraham and Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh started criticizing the president, saying he was caving on the whole DACA thing. And despite the vast majority of Americans supporting the DACA kids, the president refused to sign, and he could have had $21 billion for his wall. Because Rush Limbaugh.
Because building it is tough too, but I do that, and we know how to build. But they tried to block it. They did everything in their power to block it. And it's very interesting because in the end, it sort of just went through and the military helped us and we were getting it built regardless. But they don't like bringing it up, and it's never mentioned anymore. The wall is never mentioned anymore. The reason it's not mentioned, it's not that we won the battle. It's that it's such a compelling thing to have done.
And we have 122,000 dead Americans from a pandemic, and you're doing a fucking rally in a church in Phoenix. maybe that helps push the wall a little farther down the news ladder. Maybe?
Because you see the numbers, and where that wall is going, as you're saying, it's like magic. You don't have to do. Saves tremendous manpower and woman power, saves tremendous human resources, and saves lives. But they want open borders, and they don't want walls. And they fought harder than anybody I've ever seen. And in the end, they quit. They gave up. The reason they gave up, because politically it's unacceptable to say.
No, they didn't. He shut down the government, and then he gave up.
Especially with this new disease coming in, the pandemic, the new disease coming in, a gift from China, especially when that happened. And they say, how can we?
Now I feel bad about the scrambled eggs I'm going to eat for lunch, Robin. Thanks a lot. Robin says, I ate scrambled eggs this morning with more cognitive ability than Trump. That fact check, true.
Be putting this, so they don't want to talk about the wall anymore. They opposed it. They were strongly opposed to it. And it was interesting because you said about the wall, they'd say, no, we don't need a wall. We can have airplanes flying above. We can have people taking pictures. We can have drones. They wanted drones.
Yeah.
I said, what are you going to do, take pictures of everyone flowing across?
Hey,
Michelle. They didn't want to say, they said, no, walls. That's old technology. No, walls are the greatest technology. I said, came up with this, I'm sure somebody did before. I said, there's two things, because everything changes in the world. They change fast. Change is so fast. You do a computer and it's obsolete in 2 weeks. But two things that have never changed.
Computer.
A wall and a wheel. We're going to always have wheels, and we're going to always have walls.
And walls never change. And that's why this wall is exactly the same as the Great Wall of China in every respect.
And we have the best security wall ever built. And we'll have it completed very soon. And the way you said that was very nice. I appreciated the big difference that it's made. It's really great. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're going to the wall now.
Woohoo!
And we're going to see a piece of the wall. We're not going to be able to cover 500 miles of view, but we'll be able to cover about 10 yards. But we'll see a piece of a long wall that we're building, and you'll see what we're talking about. We'll see you over there. Thank you, media. Thank you.
And earlier, C-SPAN had it scheduled. Oh, now they're going to play the Monty Python's Flying Circus theme. They had it scheduled on C-SPAN to show that, and now it's gone. And I wonder, let me check the press pool here and see if they've pulled public availability for that. Rolling for a live visit, right? So there's apparently he's giving comments on DACA and H-1 visa comments at the wall right now. Let me go back to C-SPAN here and see if we can get anything else from C-SPAN. Maybe we can get the live feed. Yeah. Nope, that's the coronavirus tax. So that's Redfield talking before House members. That is a very, very short what's-her-face. Come on, the Missouri, Mississippi. What is her name? Hold on. I just want to tune into this because this is going to be good. Come on. Not McSally. I always call her McSally. Caskill? Come on, just show it. Why does C-SPAN have ads?
When we made that exception.
Marsha Blackburn, that's who it is.
3,000 families that were adversely impacted, the loss of life, 3,000 lives on 9/11.
I could be a senator.
And it allowed those September 11th families to seek that compensation from Saudi Arabia.
I'm giving myself a leg cramp.
Now think about this. As of this week, we have 122,000 lives that have been lost in this country.
So if you follow Molly Jong Fast, check her feed out today. She retweeted about 4 minutes of Blackburn talking about Google censoring the right wing. And she goes on to describe how the founding fathers didn't do the founding of the country in this manner that Google is doing, missing the fact that the founding fathers did exactly what she said they didn't do, by delaying things for further by the Articles of Confederation, by the Constitution, by the Bill of Rights, by the 2/3 compromise on slaves. She's none too bright and does not know how to set up her webcam.
And I want to ask you just a couple of things.
I could just watch this all day long.
Do you think
Guys,
other states are going to join you in this lawsuit? And how
and she's in a
would
big house and or hotel room.
attorneys generals
and or heaven.
Then the American people, their citizens, benefit from having another tool in the toolbox so that they could seek that compensation from,
it honestly looks,
from the Chinese.
Shut up. It looks like she's standing and trying to reach, like she's got a laptop on a tall dresser or something. She's trying to reach like a little, oh, there's somebody sensible. There's Lynn Flinch, or Fitch. I don't know who that is. Let's go back to C-SPAN, see if we can find it. I'm just wandering now, guys. You guys, let's see. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Trump's. So they've got a preview here of Trump's student convention, his rally that he's doing later for, what's his face? Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, who's just the absolute worst. Okay, Vice President Pence. I'll tell you what, while I'm doing that, guys, you guys watch this. This is good stuff right here. Give me a second. And here we go. You guys will enjoy. Yeah, I'm not finding Trump doing anything else here. So round about 3:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Eastern, we'll get going with the Trump rally in Phoenix. If you guys, has anybody been linking? Hold on. If everybody knows where it's being broadcast, let me check the YouTube TV in a second here, see if anybody's showing it. They won't be. They might show some highlights. The pool is there. C-SPAN, just for whatever reason, has decided not to broadcast it. And I'm not seeing it on any of the big three channels. Sometimes OAN will be broadcasting it. I will check OAN. Oh, boy. I'm really trying not to pay for OAN, but it is hard to get otherwise. Okay, do you want to give me a link to OAN? There it is. Category, Newsroom, OAN. Yeah, you can't get OAN unless you pay for it. Speaking of paying for things, KevinLeeFather.com is the way that you can help provide me with some cash to keep this thing going, and do stuff like subscribe to OAN so that I can watch it and you don't have to. And I can bring, I'm torn on that because as funny as it is to watch, it's also like useless. But it does speak to a certain number of Americans. They are fast becoming the number 4 network in news. Behind Fox and MSNBC and CNN and nobody else. Okay, let's see. Maybe no, it's not on CNN. I just checked. Robin, looking forward to the 3:30 for the Klan rally. Great, Robin. We will see you there. Oh yeah, JC, that's a good choice. Watching Grassroots with Biden. I'm not going to cover that. Yeah, I'll see if it'll come up somewhere. Or it'll be on Fox or something. They'll show it, just a replay of it, just the comments, but not the whole thing. And he does tend to wander when he's there. For those of you just joining us, I'll go ahead and play again what happened the last time Trump was at the border wall. Let me get off that screen first. And here is the President of the United States giving away secrets to the drug cartel.
Maximum that you could do, and one thing we haven't mentioned is technology. They're wired so that we will know if somebody's trying to break through, and you may want to discuss that a little bit, General.
Sir, there could be some merit in not discussing that.
Okay? I like that. That was a great answer. I'll just tell you they're wired, okay?
They go to the trouble to put the wires into the beams of the wall so that they can tell when somebody's cutting through, and Trump just gives it away. Sir, there may be some merit in not discussing that. Okay, that sounds good. I'll just tell everybody that there's wires. Literally what he says there. Oh, did he? Wait, Danielle, where are you watching this? Trump just autographed the wall. Where? Maybe on CNN. Danielle, help me. Danielle, where are you watching this? Oh, that's so weird. My YouTube feed is behind our chat feed right here. I'm the only one who would care about something like that, but I'm letting you guys know. Hold on, I'm going to go back to the YouTubes here. Okay, and... Okay, come on. Nope, nothing on the big three. Hey, Barb, you're late, but you can watch this on replay. Button says hi. Hey, Buttons, good to see you. It's on Fox News, the border wall. What? No, hold on. Let's join Fox right now, and we'll rewind a little bit here.
That was the spirit of those.
We'll shut him up first. So we'll go back a little bit here. Danielle, you're lying to us. Maybe that was a replay from last time. Come on. Border wall, border wall, border wall. Looking. No, this is too far back now. Danielle, are you just... Oh, is this it right here? Okay, hold on. Oh, Danielle, you're tricky. Let's see what this is right here. Okay, so he's talking to somebody.
Miles south and west of Phoenix, he attended a border security roundtable where he vowed to complete the border wall expansion very soon. Trump is also physically viewed a new stretch of wall on the U.S.-Mexico border, touting that the importance of the measures is taken as president.
The wall is never mentioned anymore. The reason it's not mentioned, it's not that we won the battle. It's that it's such a compelling thing to have done, because you see the numbers and where that wall is going as you're...
Okay, so there's Trump signing the wall, and we will see you back at about 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern Time for Corona Rally 2. We'll see you then. Otherwise, watch this. It's all the great people, and I think the credits are updated, so everybody should be in here. Have a great afternoon, guys.